I am, or the others, and you are, a threat of Turkish public order, Turkish public security, and national interest. The situation is not actually different in other countries. If you look at the United States, it is exactly the same argument that we use, has been used in the United States against the recognition of Armenian genocide. Whenever Armenians and others raise the question of recognition of Armenian genocide, American authorities answered with a simple question: national interest of United States in the Middle East. And you have this argument everywhere. So what we have here is two sets of arguments brought in opposition to one another. National security versus morality. Or in other terms, realists, realpolitikers on the one side, and versus moral fundamentalists. And those who ask recognition of Armenian genocide were criticized as moral fundamentalists and doesn't have any idea from the realpolitik what's going on in the region. So the point that I want to make this evening here, pitting national interest against morality as mutually exclusive, is just plain wrong. If you also accept this point of view that there is something that realpolitik, and according to which we might deny the historic truth and realities, and moral fundamentalism speaks for acknowledgement of historic wrongdoing, I argue this is a wrong positions. So what I say is morality, this is my central argument, is a very real issue in the Middle East, and for a realpolitik to be successful in the region, moral values, for example, the acknowledging historic wrongdoings, must be integrated into a policy of national security. If you don't include the morality or facing history in the realpolitik that you are developing or in your security concept, you cannot create a secure Middle East. This is very real political argument that I'm making here. So, but I took the question also very seriously. The question that I've struggled to find an answer is, why is the discussion of historical injustices something that goes to the heart of human rights perceived as a threat to Turkish national security? I really propose here that we take this argument about national security of Turkey very seriously. Let's consider the security concerns of Turkey and discuss these security concerns. Because the mindset that an open discussion of history endangers a security problem, creates a security problem, originates from the breakup of the Ottoman Empire into nation states starting in the 19th century. From the late time to the present, there has been a continuous tension, this is the central argument, between the state's concern for secure border and sovereign rights and the society's need to come to terms with abuses of human rights as two opposing poles. Indeed, there have been a period in Turkish history where national security and human rights became inseparably intertwined, and one such moment came immediately after the First World War, the period between 1918 and 1923, which I'm going to look closely now a little bit. When the First World War ended, 1918 October, with the Ottoman defeat, working out the term of the peace settlement, the political decision makers of the time grappled with two distinct yet related questions, the answers to which determines their various relationship and alliances with each other. So we had two major questions in 1918 when the war ended. The first question was, what should we do with the territorial integrity of Ottoman state? So this is the first question. The second question of the period was, what should we do with the crimes during the wartime, the atrocities committed by ruling Union and Progress Party against the Ottoman Armenian citizens and the others. So you have 1918 to set up different, distinct, but somehow interrelated questions. The territorial integrity of Ottoman state and human rights abuses during the First World War. What were the answers to the first question? The question about the first issue was, or the several questions. Number one, should the Ottoman state retain its independence? Great Britain, France, and all others, they discussed. Should we keep Ottomans as an independent state? If yes, should new states be permitted to arise on the territory of Ottoman state? If so, let's decide that we decided for new states on the territory of Ottoman states. How should the borders of these new states be defined? Where should be the borders for these new states? The question for the second issue was, what can be done about the wartime crimes against the Armenian and the perpetrators of these atrocities? How should the perpetrators be punished? These questions related two different sets of issues which hadn't been tackled separately and were rather intertwined with each other. The question related to the territorial integrity of Ottoman Empire led to formation of two different viewpoints. The Turkish nationalist movement, under the leadership of Kemal Atatürk, favored continued sovereignty within reduced border as defined by the 1918 Modros ceasefire treaty, which is approximately today's Turkey's border. And the allied powers and the ethnic religious groups such as Greeks, Armenians, and to a lesser degree Kurds, on the other hand, argued for the establishment of new states on both occupied and unoccupied territory of the Ottoman Empire. So the successive agreements, this is the reason why I put this map there, the successive agreement, Sèvres and the Lausanne, Sèvres 1920 and Lausanne 1923, reflected these divergent point of views. As a result of this fight over territory, in the early period of the Republic, a general understanding of history in modern Turkey emerged. Now I am the Turk from Turkey. I tell you how I learned this history in Turkey, and then try to describe how you understand this history as an outsider. We Turks, who see ourselves as a legitimate successors of the Ottoman Empire, we defended our sole remaining territory against Armenians, against Greeks, and lesser extent against Kurds, who were trying to carve up our Anatolia, our nation state, and with the support of the imperialist British, France, and Italy. So, the 1920 Sèvres Agreement resolved the question of territory in favor of these non-Turkish nationalities. For the Turks, for us, for that reason, Sèvres is a black mark in our history. And we sentence those politicians who signed the Sèvres Agreement in absentia, in Ankara, to that penalty. Although for the other ethnic religious group, now let's look at from your side, how you look this period. For you, even though you think, I mean, the Armenians, Greeks, and lesser extent Kurds, they think, although it did not fully reflect their demand for territory, the Treaty of Sèvres represented an unprecedented historic opportunity to resolve the territorial issue in favor of Armenians, Greeks, and so on. Conversely, Lausanne Treaty for Armenians and Greeks, which Lausanne granted Turkish dominance in Anatolia for the Turks, stands as a milestone and validation of the historic injustices. Lausanne is for us a new birth and everything, and Lausanne for other nations is the symbol of historic injustices. We have a totally different historiography related to the past, because this is how we Turks taught in our schools. So the question is, we all, whether we in favor of Sèvres or in favor of Lausanne, we all considered the entire process and period as a fight over the territories. If we only Armenians, we say that, you know, it's our right, we have to get the Wilsonian Armenians, and if we Turk, we say that, oh, what we got is actually less than what we wanted. Actually, North Iraq and the islands and the it should be also Turkish. So as if entire period and fight was a fight over the territories. This is where I am coming as a scholar saying that it was wrong. It is wrong. Sèvres and Lausanne cannot symbolize only the problem of territories or territorial fight. Sèvres and Lausanne at the same time symbol for something else. It is the second question that I asked: what should have happened with the perpetrator of Armenian genocide after the World War I? There were, let's look the answers that was given during that period to that central question. The central question was, how would those perpetrators of human rights abuses during the war be punished? Although